Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is Tyler Jones, and you're listening to another Big Buck Breakdown from the Element Podcast. What's happening, all my woods people? Today is a nasty day. It is like 40 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, right?
It is absolutely insane.
It's insane. And it is raining cats and dogs, catfish and dogfish, and it is just like nasty, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wore shorts. I was like, yeah, I'll be good, you know? And my calves are pretty chilly right now.
I would imagine. I had to get the Carhartt out today because it is getting chilly. Not with a I at the end. It's with a
or
Y. Yeah, or not Chile. But, man, if it wasn't raining, it would be killer deer hunting weather right now. And to be quite honest, I just ain't into that. But I know that across the country, it has become killer deer hunting weather a lot sooner than normal. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of big bucks hitting the ground. In fact, we've got a buddy who smoked a toad. I mean, a true, like, big buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wonder, is this the biggest buck that's been on a Big Buck Breakdown?
I kind of wondered that, too. I mean,
I think it is. Garrett's was right in there at the same.
Yeah, that's right. Garrett's was like one of those deer with a lot of extra points and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the buck from last year, Hugh, the nameless buck.
Yeah.
You know, it's
we
going to be right there.
We didn't technically do a Big Buck Breakdown for that one,
Not
though.
technically, but kind of. We did a
yeah.
special episode. But anyways, the deer we're referring to is
big.
Really large. It's our buddy Alex Comstock from WhitetailDNA up in the great state of Minnesota. 10,000 lakes and about 10 million big bucks, apparently. Now, there's a few around. He has been working hard to get himself on this big deer. I know last time we had him, what day was that? We had him on in like late September for a big buck breakdown.
He killed early September, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. And he talked about going back and hunting this property that he killed this buck on.
Yeah, he got it done, man. So his season looks weird to me now, I guess. But
I don't know what
really
that
cool.
feels like. Golly.
I know. We're out here swatting mosquitoes, not seeing nothing.
Yeah.
But, so before we get to that, though, real quick, just make sure everybody knows you've still got a little bit of time to give a review on iTunes for our podcast. You give the podcast review, and you have a good chance so far to win the Exodus Trek trail camera.
Mm-hmm. That's right, man. So actually, you have a lot of time to give a review, but only a little time to give a review to get the camera. Right? Yeah.
So you're okay. So here's the thing: is when you give a review, it doesn't actually iTunes reviews your review to make sure that it's appropriate, and so it doesn't show up for a few days. Mm-hmm. So you got to get this in like at least 3 or 4 days prior to October 30th, which is the date that we're giving the camera away. Okay. Yeah. So we've decided we're going to have some kind of a big buck breakdown or some podcast on a Tuesday, October 30th. And hopefully the winner will come forward quickly. We can send them this and they can get it out for the month of November, where they can get a ton of good information to use in the late season and even in 2019. So
Yep. So get that 5-star review in so that we can get you a camera.
that's right. So now let's get to the Alex interview. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. So on the phone now we have Alex Comstock from WhitetailDNA. Alex, things are looking good for you so far this year, I'd say.
Yeah, it's been an all right season, I guess.
Man, like, I feel like at this point, you should be like, your title should be maybe co-host of the Element podcast, because you're like such a regular on here now.
Spent a fair amount of time talking with you guys.
I know, man. We had like an epic long podcast in, I think, July this year, and then you've already shot 2 monster bucks, so it's, and I guess I just revealed it, but you got into a pretty good one the other day. Is this like your biggest one?
I mean, score-wise, he's my second biggest.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Cool,
that's just by
man.
inches.
That's awesome. So you kind of roughed him out, I guess?
Yeah, I did a rough tape to him. I got him at about 152. So
Wow.
152.
Man, that's a stud.
Yeah. So what about the dressed weight? Did you get a weight on that deer?
I didn't, because where I was cutting him up, my buddy didn't have a scale, but
Yeah.
we all, there was about 4 or 5 of us, and we all pretty much agreed that he was probably, 230 to 240. He was a big deer.
Yeah, that's a big deer.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome, man. So how'd it go down? What's the story? You have much history with this deer?
well, so the backstory on this property where I shot this buck was, it's a small, about 10-acre chunk of private that I had permission on back when I was like in high school, and there was always big bucks on this property, but kind of looking back on it, I hunted it wrong, and I had some cool encounters back in the day, but was never able to get it done. And then when I had moved out to North Dakota, just through a series of events, I lost permission on the property. And then when I moved back, I reached out to the landowner to try to regain it. And after talking to him and his wife was all concerned about like arrows flying around. It's in the city, pretty close to his backyard. But I had regained permission this summer, and so immediately, the day I got permission, I put up camera, and there was 3 bucks that were coming in fairly regularly. It was him, 1 buck that was a little bit smaller than him, and 1 that was a little bit bigger than him, and so I knew of him. I'd gotten only, I think, 3 pictures of him in daylight all summer, and then the last daylight photo was September 3rd. So I actually, the bigger one of the 3, the biggest one, had showed up in daylight 2 times the last week of September. And so I was thinking that he would be the one that I'd see if I were to see any of them this time of year. And last week we had a major cold front come through. After we had about 4 days of torrential downpour and really high winds, and then it kind of all went away. I went in and hunted, and this buck was the second time I'd sat this stand, and he was the first deer I'd seen out of it. And first got eyes on him with about 15 minutes left of legal light, and he was kind of coming right at me, and the whole encounter was, 45 seconds maybe. He came in, I got the camera on him. He came right up the trail where I was expecting him to. So it was nice because I was like looking at that spot as he came into frame, so I didn't get surprised. So it all happened how it usually never happens. And he came in, and then he literally turned broadside for me, stopped, and I didn't have to stop him or anything, and then I just let him have it, and he went crashing off and died pretty much right away, and it just all was like a blur, but he read the script, and you don't get to say that very often.
No kidding,
especially
man.
in mid-October.
Yeah, man, no kidding. That is so cool. Like, you just mentioned, like, in mid-October. So first of all, congratulations on being the first guy to be on a Big Buck Breakdown twice in 1 year. So that's cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. But, like, what does this do for your season? A, do you have another Minnesota buck tag? And then, like, B, I know we talked to you about it in the past, kind of what your season schedule looked like for heading south a little bit and stuff like that. With this big buck down in Minnesota this early, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. you know, I'm going to take probably a little bit of time and just kind of relax. I mean, get some content done and stuff, not have to worry about trying to sit every day. But
eat some back straps.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I got 3 deer in the freezer now. I'm good to go for a while.
Yeah, it's good.
But now, I mean, like today after work, I'm going out, put up a few trail cameras, start trying to get some information for next year, for 2019. Get cameras over scrapes and whatnot. And then after that, I mean, I don't have another Minnesota tag, so I'm done in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I got Nebraska, so I just got my vacation approved last week, so I'm headed to Nebraska the 4th of November, and I'll be there the 4th through the 9th. And that's the week before their gun season opens.
Those are good days.
So the gun season opens there the 10th, so I'm kind of strategically planning that.
Sure.
And I'm feeling really confident about that. So
cool.
But it's kind of hard to not be feeling confident right now.
That's right, man. You are hitting your stride, dude. No kidding. That is awesome, man. So that's going to be kind of like your big rut push. And do you have any late season stuff, or is that a tag that like you can go back on late season?
Yeah, if I don't tag out, I'll probably go back there again. And then other than that, I mean, I got another doe tag here in Minnesota, so I'm going to shoot another doe at some point.
Yeah. And
then that's pretty much it. I'm going to try to do as much planning as I can for 2019. I'll probably make a trip out to North Dakota at some point, move cameras. I mean, it's because it's easy once you're tagged out in states to just kind of be done. But I'm trying to think ahead and at least I can have some baseline of information for next year, not just pack it all up for the year.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So what makes that property special there in Minnesota? Like, why? I mean, it sounds like it might be, I don't know this for sure, but is it like a smaller kind of urban or suburban property that you're hunting?
It's in a city. Yep, it's part of a city hunt. So I mean, it's smack dab. I mean, about a half hour before I shot that buck, I was watching the landowner play fetch with his dogs. So it's right in there. But what makes it, I think, good is that it's a small piece and the public around it. So the city hunt's weird. Like, I hunt public in the city, but it's a different zone. So you get assigned different zones and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so this is in a zone that I don't have, but you can hunt private in any zone. And so the public behind it gets hit pretty hard. And no one's hunted this I mean, since 2011 or 12, I'm the only person that's hunted the property. And so by I put that camera up right away, but I only checked it, I think, twice. And I mean, between July and October. So I was really careful. Even in, people, that's what I think the city hunt, people think because there's so many people around that they can just go in and the pressure doesn't affect deer. Well, deer still, these deer the other deer, the one that was bigger, I had pictures of him last time I hunted the property in 2015, and I think he's a 7 or 8 year old. So these deer are still super smart,
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just pretty much, I went in, hung the camera. I think 2 weeks later, I went in, checked it, had all those bucks on camera. I hung the stand that day, and then I pretty much stayed out, checked it one more time on a rainy day in September, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a big reason why. I mean, there wasn't a ton of deer in this property. Like I said, he was the first deer that I saw, but there was quite a few nice bucks coming through, and so I think that was kind of a big factor.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious, and you may not want to dive into this too deep, but in my experience, I have a couple of buddies who I kind of helped them get permission on a property, and then through like kind of lack of contact, a few situational things, they kind of just like kind of lost, I guess, permission on that property. It wasn't like he told them to go away or anything. Is that kind of a similar thing for you, where you just kind of like got busy with life for a year or two and then just kind of lost permission, or was it a different situation there?
No, it was a different situation. So, so like the landowner that owned it, he was an older guy, and he had passed away. And then his son took over his house and the property and whatnot. And when the son moved in, his wife didn't want me hunting there, more or less, because she was, scared of the whole hunting, and they had kids and stuff.
Gotcha.
But I think their kids were at the age where now they're kind of older and not as worried about it. So I had to, and that's the thing that's kind of an important thing too, that you can even talk about. It's like I had to go meet with him, talk with his wife, kind of assure them that I wasn't just some, you know what I mean? Kind of make them feel better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And so I assured them, she had said, if I ever found an arrow in the yard, you're not coming back this much. And I was like, no, totally understandable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can agree on those terms, right?
Yeah.
So
you're never going to find an arrow sticking out of the yard or anything like that.
Yeah. Do you think that, now that you've harvested a buck there, will that affect your permission level in any way, good or bad? Maybe like you made it an ethical kill on this buck, and they see that you're a good hunter, so now you're cemented in there. Or, I'm asking this personally because I have a place that's a little bit like that, where the wife is a little bit uneasy about me hunting the place. And I'm worried that once I kill a buck, she's going to have remorse that there was a dead animal in that place and is not going to let me back on there. So do you have in either of those two? Do you think that's working in your direction?
I don't think so. What I'm going to do is, I texted. I think when it comes to relationships like this, it's always just to be good to be upfront and then to be generous. So when I say upfront, I texted the landlord that night, hey, shot a buck in your property. If you see headlamps back there or anything, just know that it's me. So he was like, oh, thanks. Appreciate the heads up. He's like, send me a pic when you can. Sent him the picture, and he was like, wow, I didn't know bucks were that big behind my house. And I was like, yeah, thanks. And then I'll probably the next week or two, I'll show up some evening with venison and maybe a gift card, something like a restaurant or something for him and his wife for letting me hunt back there. Just kind of, I feel like that can go a long ways with people.
Yeah. It's a great idea, man. I had my dad and I started hunting on some family land in Kansas about 13 or 14 years ago, maybe. And a similar thing happened where we were shooting some pretty good deer, and they're like, wow, that's a big one. I don't think I've ever seen one that big. And next thing you know, landowner's son starts getting to hunting age, and we pretty much hunt on a different property now. And there's no hard feelings or anything, but we just didn't want to step on any toes, So that's always kind of a scary thing when somebody sees that there's a big deer there. It can give them the big eyes, but hopefully that doesn't happen in your situation.
Yeah, I know the landowner is a rifle hunter, but he doesn't bow hunt. So let's kind of maybe just hope that doesn't change.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a really.
At that point, because there's nothing. Let's just say he started bow hunting. I'm going to bow hunt back there now. You can't really get mad because it's his land. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I understand, man. Well, congratulations, man, and keep us informed on what's going on with you this season. I'm interested to kind of see how. I've never had a season where I tagged out so early, so I'm interested to see how that plays out and what it might look like for me in the future if I ever get to do that as well.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a weird feeling, I'm moving this week just in town, but just to a different house, and just how it is with moving, you got all the crap, and I was all worried about that with hunting, and I was like, I don't know. Now it's like, oh, well. Yeah, I'll move all night because I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Timed out well, dude. That's good, man. Well, let's make this thing a trifecta, dude. Go down to Nebraska and shoot another big one and just come on back.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, so, cool. Well, sounds good, man. I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. So congratulations again, man, and stay in touch.
I appreciate it. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, see you, Alex.
Bye.
Man, that's a cool story, dude. It's got me all juiced up. I'm just ready for it to stop raining, really.
I know it, man. I'm thinking right now, if it wasn't raining, I would hang up my tool belt and go out right now because it is it's so prime, man.
You said the deer were moving this morning, didn't you?
They were. The deer were going crazy this morning, and it really hurts. It hurts down deep inside, but I just ain't into going out there and getting soaking wet when it's 45. So.
Yeah, me neither. Not at all. I don't even like it when I have the ability to go back inside and get warm. So, so any more as far as this goes, just make sure you go check out WhitetailDNA. We have linked his video to this buck in the show notes. So look down below in the show notes, check that out. Also, don't forget the trail camera giveaway that we're doing. It's the Exodus Trek trail camera, and we're doing it in exchange for a review on iTunes. So the winner will have this thing announced on October 30th.
Ooh,
so
it'll be to your house in time for the rut.
Yeah, so remember that, and also remember, this is your element.
Live in it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.